Welcome to the First 40 Sports Show with the Goon Squad, Black THOR, ICEWATER, and yours truly, PUMA. We're going straight to the topics. College basketball, it's championship week. We'll find out by the end of this week who is in the tournament and who is out of the tournament. Let me go to Black THOR. I know you've been watching championship week. I know you kind of felt bad when Kansas got beat by Texas earlier this week. So what's your eye test, man?
Yeah, I'll start right there, man. I don't know if Kansas got off the bus in that game, bro. I don't know. I mean, I have to kind of reevaluate my position on them after watching it. But I was happy to see Texas do what they do. That head coach basically has take that team and elevated them, and they were playing Saturday, man. I'm ready, man. I'm ready. I know you guys are gearing for me at this time for March Madness. You all been waiting for a whole year. You've been writing it down with the pencils behind their ear, take it down, write stuff down. They're ready for the massacre, but it's not. I'm not going down easy. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. I'm not going down easy. So y'all miss your sleep, get your Red Bulls, do everything you gotta do, step on night watching these games because it's getting ready to go down again.
Yeah, Houston winds up in the regular season the number one team, winning out, and they have a 29-2 record, followed by UCLA moving up to the number 2 spot, followed by Kansas, Alabama, Purdue, Marquette. A lot of people have been sleeping on Marquette. Texas moves up 2 spots to number 7, followed by Arizona. Gonzaga won their conference championship. And also Baylor. Baylor is at number 10. They fall 3 spots to number 10, ICE. And it should be an interesting tournament because a lot of teams are kind of peaking, and some teams that we thought were peak are kind of laying down. And I don't know if it's because the conferences are better this year, but I predict they're going to be about 8 to 9 teams in the Big Ten that get into the big dance this year.
Yeah, that might be true. I can see when you say that, but the year is really messed up. I'm sitting there watching it, how it's been a little bit off-centered, and I think that's going to be a result of what the tournament is going to show you. It's going to show you some stuff that you thought was guaranteed a lock. You're like, how the hell did they lose?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's going to be like. And I see that because that means you got to pay attention. So you got to know the ups and downs of teams and where they go. Right. And I found a couple little nuggets earlier, like yesterday. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, yeah, I won't be sharing those though. For $2.50, you can go to my pay-per-view and get it. But I'll tell y'all next week. But maybe. But no, watching Gonzaga, the way that they beat St. Mary's, that impressed me. I'm not sure if I'm really ready to put them in a Final Four or anything like that, but they showed a lot of balance. St. Mary's is a pretty decent team, and they've handled them before, but I was impressed by that. I mean, Timmy's just Timmy, right? And Timmy's let everybody know he's not coming back for a 5th year. So this is his last hurrah, so I think he's going to try to do that well. And they have a lot of ability. It just depends on what time when they show up and if they will show up. Also, too, watching, this is a good game coming up on Thursday, TCU versus Kansas State. TCU is number 22, Kansas State is number 12. Those are the type of teams that when they get in the tournament, they could cause trouble. But I want to see which team on Thursday wants it the most. Because the team that wins that game is going to get a higher seed. So I want to see that. I want to see how they react and go from that standpoint. I've been pumping Indiana all year long. But, right now I'm not sure. I've been watching them all year. I like them. But, you win all these games. You beat Purdue twice. You beat Michigan twice. And you keep moving along. But then you get blasted by 22. Was it 22 or something like that by Iowa?
Yeah.
I mean, you just don't know what team's going to show up. And that's always been what scared me about Indiana. So it's going to be up and down that way too. Other than that, a lot of teams, I'm like, why am I watching Ohio State on the first night of the Big Ten tournament? I'm like, something wrong. It's a lot of ups and downs. But the beautiful thing about this, and I will say this and get out the way so you can present your soliloquy, Puma, the fact that it's going to be wide open. And you better do your homework. That's all I'm going to say. If you have not done your homework, it will show. It will show. That's all I'm going to say. So enjoy the tournament. The brackets, gentlemen, will be coming out shortly. If you haven't received it yet, it will be coming out shortly. Don't worry about that. It will not be last minute. It will be set up so you can get in there and do what you need to do. But I love it. It's here. All I can do is have this big smile on my face because I know all you can do is you got to either defend it or give it up. That's all. You're gonna defend it or you're gonna give it up. That's all I'm saying. I'm gonna leave that right there.
Oh, it's been a year in the making. This is a year in the making, baby.
Well, there's some teams that jumped in the top 25 that kind of really surprised me, and you know that they're going to end up in the tournament. We were really I know I was skeptical of Duke getting in the tournament. They're ranked 21 right now. I was skeptical about what Kentucky would do with 10 games out. They are ranked number 23. You got Creighton, you got Missouri at number 25, who moved 8 spots, and you talked about Indiana, who moved down 4 spots. Texas A&M, they're trending up, as well as Xavier. After that loss against St. Mary's, I was hoping that San Francisco, the Dons, played Gonzaga because they were playing really well in that conference tournament with Shabazz, the point guard. And I hope they get into the at-large because if you haven't seen Shabazz, Khalil Shabazz from San Francisco, he is a must-see type of guard. They told him he was too little, things of that sort, but he makes it happen. And I think they have a 7'1", 7'2" center who shoots like 47% from the three-point line. So that's a team that would be dangerous because they shoot a high percentage of three-pointers on that team. That's a team that will be dangerous. And you put up against anybody, and a three-point shot may help them out. Miami has been trending up also out of the ACC. Virginia is still holding court where they are at number 13. I was really kind of disappointed with Kansas State. I thought they would be better, but lo and behold, here comes UConn, who's ranked number 11 Black. I know you're not really high on them, but they seem to be trending up and getting closer to that top 10. But none of this will matter next week when you see the seedings. I don't think they're trying to create a road for North Carolina to make it, even though that's my squad. I don't think they're going to make it. I kind of predicted they'll probably get knocked out in the first round. They lost against Duke, a game they had to have against a rival on their home court. It's just not going to happen. Black?
Yeah, I don't want to speak bad of you. I think it's great that they battled back and found another 11th spot. Just don't trust them, man. I just don't trust them. I watched them off and on throughout the year. Don't have that confidence. I think they can win a game or two in the tournament. I'll give them the first round maybe, and then maybe squeak some on the second round. I just can't see them doing much more than that. And actually for UConn at this point, with their head coach, that's not a bad place to be. If they can handle that, to me, that's a successful season for them. They go beyond, that's even better, but I'm not expecting great things out of them. You know, I know you guys spoke of Indiana, and the thing, I watched them a little bit over the weekend, and, you know, they have it. It's just like sometimes they kind of, if they're motivated, it seems like to me, they play well. They're not motivated, they kind of pull back. But that center they have, man, that brother's the truth, man.
Yeah,
that brother's the truth. Yeah, that brother's the truth. Now, he may not be a center when he goes into the next league, but right now, his game is something to watch. And let me say this too, man. If you don't mind, I want to try this one real quick because I don't know if we touched base on this or not. If we did, I forgot. Forgive me for that. But to see Dickie V back on television, man, it's something about that. It's just good to see, bro. I know he went through a battle. If I'm not mistaken, I think he had cancer for a period of time. Mm-hmm. One time he came on television, he couldn't even speak, man. They showed him he couldn't speak. But to see him now, Dickie V has so much energy and he moves around so much. We kind of believe he's younger than what he is. He's not a young man, man. But to battle that and be back and do what he's doing, hey, man, more power to you, Dickie V.
Or ICE, there's another team that I've been watching kind of closely, and they seem to be ready for revenge because I thought this team was going to go really far last year in the tournament. It's Arizona out of the West, out of the Pac-12. They're playing like they got a chip on their shoulder. And then people are still messing with Penny Hardaway at Memphis. Memphis is a tough team, and they took Houston to the wire in their conference final. But I'm looking at Arizona, and even though they lost maybe 3 players from that last year's team, they're playing like, you know what, we want to get back to where we were before, and we want to finish it.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that Arizona has that a lot of teams, one thing you can't teach, and another thing that is just really solid, they have a solid front court. They have some of the biggest, most talented players down in the post. The issue that they struggle with sometimes is that guard play, which is why UCLA has pretty much dominated them the last couple of seasons. Because UCLA guards are just amazing. They come at you, they take over, they don't wait on anybody, and the rest, like the rest of the cavalry comes along and just jumps on with them. And I think that's going to be the biggest issue for Arizona is the fact that they're going to have to get some decent guard play. They usually, it's kind of like having big guys that are like 6'5", 6'6". They really are small forwards, but they play the point out of necessity. If they had like a true point guard, I think Arizona would be a lot better this year. But down low, they're a nightmare. And if they put them out west, it depends on what's going on. They'll probably put Kansas is to be in the Midwest. Or whoever's number one, somebody's going to be out west. If Arizona can get out west, they can cause a problem. Because one, they're going to have the home court advantage. The fans will come.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they're closer to home, and they're probably going to get a pretty favorable draw, like, I don't know, what, 3 maybe? A 3 seed, something like that, whatever it is. If they can stay out west, they will be a problem, major problem, until they have to maybe play the number 1 seed. But they can go for a few games.
Well, we're taping this show on International Women's Day. We want to go to the women's bracket. I think it's just a foregone conclusion. South Carolina's going to go undefeated and win the national championship. I can't see any other team. They beat all the teams they needed to beat that were in the top 10 or top 25. Like, I don't see anybody beating them.
No, I agree with you there, but I think if I'm not mistaken, I think ranked number 2 is what, Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say Indiana doesn't have a shot. I mean, that's the only team that kind of scares me with South Carolina is Indiana. But we all believe, and I believe, when the tournament starts, Dawn Staley's going to take that team up a notch, man. what we see in the regular season, she's going to take them up a couple of notches. So, yeah, I guess I can double down on that. But then again, I would say if there's a team I think that might be able to sneak in and kind of maybe just kind of slow them down and might sneak a win when it's necessary, it might be Indiana.
Yeah. ICE, they beaten UConn. They beaten Tennessee. They've beaten a lot of LSU, who was undefeated at the time they played them. And a murderous row of teams that could have taken that number 1 spot, but when push came to shove, couldn't do it. Stanford, I'm looking at Stanford. I always loved Stanford, but what do you see in the tournament with the ladies?
If they get to a point, South Carolina that is, where they don't shoot the ball well, because they're huge. I didn't think they were that big. I know they have the player of the year with Boston. I know she's a good player. But I didn't know that they had that much size on the other side of under the boards. And they have people coming off the bench too. South Carolina's a very big team. They're very talented. They have a very confident point guard. They play well, but if they start to have a game where they kind of struggle scoring the ball or shooting the ball, then you can see a team. I'm not saying UConn's going to do anything, but you can see a team like that can play and is aggressive. You mentioned Indiana; they play very aggressive. I watched the team this weekend, and if they play the way they played against my Ohio State Buckeyes, Iowa, my goodness, with Caitlin Clark averaging 27 points a game, shooting threes near the logo. They play very physical. They're not real big, but they play quick, they're fast, and they play great defense, and they're always after it. They don't wait on anything. A team like that could possibly give South Carolina a little problem if they're missing shots. But as you mentioned, Don Staley takes that to another level. They found ways to win. The one thing I like about South Carolina to end this is the factor that South Carolina does not just rely on its star. They have other people that contribute and they do well. And that's the way Don Staley has his team set up. She just happened to be the best player on the team. But these other girls, they go after it. And they are relentless. When they played UConn, it was like they were taking no prisoners. It was like they were looking like, you're looking at Gino like, you can throw water bottles, you can get mad all you want to. We are taking it, because our coach said the one thing we haven't done yet, we have not beat UConn at UConn. And she said, we want this bad. And they were looking at Gino like, you can bring your own refs, you can do whatever you want to. We're taking this victory, and that's what they did. And they resonate, they exemplify the same type of attitude that Don Staley has when she was a player. And she's still mad. I don't know what the hell she's mad about. She's still mad.
This Philly man.
Oh,
Let's go to the association. Denver is stretching out his lead. Memphis is slowly but surely kind of dropping down in the rankings. You got Sacramento at number 2 in the Western Conference, followed by Memphis, Phoenix, Dallas, Golden State, Minnesota, the Clippers, and looky who's in the number 9 spot, the Los Angeles Lakers. And I don't expect that that's going to last long. I was looking at Anthony Davis last night, just waiting for the time that he gets hurt or goes back to the locker room. He did with a bruised nose or something. He got punched last night. But Milwaukee stretching out to its lead. They lost the game. I was bragging on Milwaukee and the Knicks. It's just kind of by fate. Being a Knicks fan, I'm looking at them playing Charlotte, and I'm like, okay, the Knicks are going to lose this game. Because this is a game they're supposed to win. I mean, they've been beating Boston. They've been all these big time teams play to their competition and lose to Charlotte, who is like second to last in the conference. So Milwaukee's stretching out his lead. My point, Ice, and I think I talked to you about this before, is to me, Boston is missing a true point guard on that team because Brown and Smart aren't really point guards. They're kind of off guards. And I think if Boston had a point guard, they would fare better in that Eastern Conference.
Yeah, but for me, I don't think it's a point guard. I think what they're missing is they need another force at either the 3 or the 4. And I know Tatum plays the 3, but you need another guy that Brown does a hell of a job, but you need another guy that can just go, you having an off night tonight, talking to Tatum, don't worry about it, I got you. They need another force at 3 and 4, and I think that's what they're missing. The point guard, I just don't know if the point guard would be make that big a difference because the point guard is not going to score. Okay, you got too many weapons on that team, and those guys need their shots. So he would distribute it, but it had to be a special type of guy. Like I said, I think it's another score, another body, and I think that's what they're missing. But it's what it is, and I call Milwaukee the cheaters. Not just playing, but with that loaded roster, oh my goodness! Every time I watch them, it's like I'm amazed, and you got to give it to them because they play straight hard basketball. Also, too, Middleton is back, which is even more worse nightmare for other teams. I'm like, how did y'all let them get all this damn talent on this team? It's like the old Lakers, the '80 Lakers. Bring a Bob McAdoo back from Italy. And stuff like that too. Bringing Michael Townsend. Where the hell Michael Townsend been? Well, you gonna stop Kevin McHale. They always had a solution. Spencer Haywood. They always had a way to find people that nobody else would pick up. And that's what's happening, I think, with Milwaukee right now. Boston's struggling. Brooklyn's still hanging around in 6. Must be some bad basketball played in the East right now because Brooklyn is still at 6. Also, too, I hope Toronto hangs on. To make the playing game. I think they're 9 right now. Yeah. I like them. I've always liked them. I like their team. I like to see them still hang around. Out west, as you mentioned, Sacramento is moved to number 2. Ja's not around, so Memphis is dropping fast. I know the rest of the world hates it, but you got to give some love to Phoenix at least hanging around and playing a little bit. I ain't saying they're going to win it all, but they didn't look bad against Dallas. They did not look bad against Dallas. The one thing I think is going to hurt them in the playoffs, and I was watching it very closely when they played Dallas, is the factor that, and maybe it's something that is the player or whatever, but DeAndre Ayton looks lost. It's like he doesn't even have a role out there. You watch Booker, you watch Durant shoot the ball, you watch Chris Paul, they keep moving the ball around, and then all of a sudden they go for like a stretch, for about 4-minute stretch. Okay, let's try to give Ayton the ball. And I'm like, dude, if nothing else, just square up, put your back out, box out, grab some rebounds, get some putbacks. But he just looks like he's just out there, and they have to make a concentrated effort to get him in the game. And I think that's going to really hurt them down the line. Lakers at 9. I hope OKC gets in. They're at number 11. I love watching them. I don't care what you say. You can like who you like. But that damn Gilgeous Alexander, man, woo, he can play. And he is it's a great joy watching him. I know when they get the big fella, young fella back next year, I hope they hold on to everybody. I think they can be a force. And last but not least, because we don't give a lot of flies around here, we pick and we go after people. I'm gonna say something about this one player, and he may not be a superstar or anything, but I want to say kudos for the effort that James Wiseman is giving in Detroit. James Wiseman is showing that he can play basketball and he can sulk and be like, I got my money, I'm good. I'm no longer at Golden State. But I've seen him put up some very impressive numbers and given a lot of effort on the team that everybody knows has no chance in hell make a playoffs. So kudos to that young man. Hope he continues on his journey to trying to become a better basketball player.
And who's to say he won't end up right back in Golden State once he gets some experience, because that's what Golden State does sometimes. Black, give me your eye test, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna start with Philadelphia, man. I know you and I had a chance to chit chat over the weekend, and you said what I see now, I won't see in the playoffs. I agree with you then, but then again, I'm not sure, man. I'm not.
Here we go. Here we go.
I'm not sure.
So the return of Mongo Slade in playoffs. I'm telling you, he's coming back. James Harden is Mongo Slade. Don't believe the regular season hype of him.
No. It's something about them. I have yet to see that team over the past 5 years be this adhesive. Where they're playing, man, they're playing like on a mission. They're playing with some chemistry and they're playing together. It's not like a little separation. I'm not saying I think they're going to run through the East, but I think they're going to put up a good battle, man. I think they're, we kind of overlook them based on, what he has done in the past. And of course, I said last week about Doc Rivers, but I'm thinking this year might be a little different, man. In Milwaukee, man, it seemed like to me, I mean, I know they picked up some acquisitions, but it seemed like to me this team has finally matured around the Greek Freak. When the way they wanted to me, they had no Middleton and him, but the rest of the players, like, they will give you something every now and then, and they will give you every now and take it away. But now, even their point guard, this cat is playing with fur. He's out there with fever playing. He's getting it done. It's like the whole team, the role players have basically they're playing beyond their roles in Milwaukee. And I think they're going to be very tough out when it comes down to the playoffs. Boston, I don't know if it's the point guard, but I do agree with Ice that they need another player, because it's one thing that Golden State showed you last year. If you can play with Tatum and get him off his game, Boston has nothing else. They really don't. You can give let Brown get his, but if you can mess with Tatum enough, he's that type of cat, realistically, bump him around a little bit, kind of basically getting his head early in the first quarter to where he starts playing and crying to the refs, you got him out of his game. So I kind of think, too, they need someone, but if I remember correctly, there was a cat that they got a couple of years ago, I think it was San Antonio, that comes off the bench. It might be wise to start him at point guard and let him start the game if they're looking for a point guard. When it comes to the West, Denver's doing this thing and no one's really talking about them. Everybody's kind of, for the most part, they talk about the Lakers, who has no chance at this point of getting in. They focus on what Phoenix with Kevin Durant, which to me is a nice show, but I don't think it's going to do much. And Dallas, man, I mean, I had high hopes when Kyrie Irving went there. that doesn't seem like it's going to work out, bro. It doesn't seem like it's going to work out. It just doesn't seem like Irvin is basically, I know people say it's going to take a while to get his room. No, I think realistically, I thought about this. I think he's been living on what he did with Cleveland years ago, bro. Don't get me wrong. He has some nights where he gives you flashes, but if you look at him for the past several years, he hasn't been consistently knocking it down, bro. He hasn't been. I think a lot of times we just wait for what he's done when he was with LeBron. It's going to reappear. It's a long time ago. So I'm not sure if that's going to happen. But the West, to me, people are going to jockey a little bit, but at the end of the day, I still will say, be wary of the Golden State Warriors. They're quiet. They're just kind of hanging around, letting things go about his business. But at the same time, they're doing their work. And to me, when you get it all said and done, Steve Kerr, I know the Golden State Warriors, he has a way, man, of coaching his ass off in the playoffs, bro. He just does. So for me, all that sounds good. When Golden State's out of it, then I will kind of look for another team to step up and kind of take the championship on the Western side. As of this point, I'm not ready to crown no one yet until I see Golden State gets beat in a 7-game series. I'm not ready, man. When it comes to the West, all looks good. It sounds good. This one's here. This one's that. What you going to do when Golden State comes for you? That's going to be the question, baby.
All right, let's go to some NFL news. And the report came out today that, basically Baltimore, the Ravens, they're going to franchise Lamar Jackson. I keep saying he needs an agent, and I'll give you my reasons why I think he needs an agent at this particular time. But they said the teams that were rumored to have interest in him now are all backed off for some strange reason in this kind of situation. And to me, Black, it's almost like the Ravens don't even want him back. And I would rewind the tape to fourth and goal on the 1 yard line, and the quarterback tries to jump over, and try to score when everybody's blocking low. And so I got to believe if Lamar Jackson was in that game, they would have won that game. But the way they're handling this situation, this should have been handled 1 or 2 years ago. And they're almost kind of saying, hey, go out there and see what you can get, but we're not going to give you anything more than this.
Well, I'll say this, man. I remember watching that game and I said to myself, the way Baltimore played that game and Cincinnati was close. I said, based on this game, they're going to the Ravens are going to believe we don't need Lamar. We don't. We made it into the playoffs without him. For the most part, he missed 6 of the last games of the season. And that playoff game, they were in. And I said, they're going to get a little arrogant here. They're going to feel like we don't need him. And I think that's what you're seeing play out. But at the same time, man, I think Lamar's did a heck of a job, handling his business. I just think in general, to me, if I think there's a way he needs to kind of understand, he needs to stop looking at that contract that what's name got with Cleveland, because they're trying to get kind of doing that contract right now. And I know, everybody thinks once a player gets something, you got to set the stage, you got to go higher and that stuff. But realistically, when the owner comes out and said, we're not doing that contract, he said that months ago. To me, right then and there, you got to realize, okay, if I want to be here, let me get as close as I can. I think he's basically that number and nothing else. And I think Baltimore are just not going to pay it. And that from a business perspective, I can't be mad at them. Because that contract, I think it's great that he has it in Cleveland, but that contract is from a business perspective is ridiculous, bro. But my point is, get close as you can, get them to elevate your guaranteed money close to about 200, and they're going to rock and roll. Do a short contract, rock and roll, because you're still going to be young if you keep the contract kind of short, and then go somewhere else or, have them cash out you again. But I think what they're basically saying is that we're going to prove to you no one wants to pay that money. That's what they're basically going to me, they're just trying to say. I think they want him, but they're trying to show him, you know what? No one's going to come for you at this price, bro. So we're going to put you out there, give you a chance to go make your own deal. But I will say this, do not be surprised, because they ain't been 24 hours yet. And when your keyword, you said rumors. That's what you said, rumors. There's going to be a couple of teams that's going to come up and go, you know what? I'm going to take a bite. I would not be surprised, man. We may not hear it too. Basically, it's structured out. But even Atlanta saying they don't want it, I'm not believing it. I'm not believing it. Give this a couple of days, bro. Give this a chance when you start to get closer to the draft. You'll be surprised. Somebody's going to come up and say, you know what? I'm going to pay this young man the money and bring him here. Only thing about Lamar that's going to be interesting, whatever team decides, that's why I think Atlanta be a better fit. You got to have a team that's basically already ready to run, that's built around the run, and then he comes in complement with the pass. And most of these teams out here now, they want an open spread offense, and that's the only thing that might hurt him in the long run going to another team.
Yeah, ICE, he has a non-exclusive franchise tag, which gives him $32.4 million in 2023, instead of the exclusive tag that he would have kind of earned maybe $45 million, in 2003. The reason why I say I think he needs an agent, because sometimes an agent can go in there and be the bad guy, which Lamar can't do at that particular time. He can't negotiate that way because he's trying to get a future employment with some of these teams. And sometimes looking at interviews with Lamar and teams talking to him, what are they going to get out of him as far as he just wants the contract that Watson has? And so sometimes the agent can be the bad guy, call the team, hey, you ain't treating my guy right. Here's what we're going to do. Kind of threaten them a little bit, kind of push them around a little bit, where a player can't do that because they're trying to get employment. Your thoughts on this?
Yeah, you mentioned the numbers. That's very interesting. The fact that the Ravens would kind of cover all of the bases. So, for instance, if he can't go anywhere, then it's like, okay, we'll take you back. We'll pay you the 32, but we're not going to pay you the 45. And as you mentioned about the factor that he really doesn't have an agent, I think if I was him, I would kind of look into finding somebody at just to work on this project, right? So that means you don't have to worry about, having them for years or whatever like that too. The people that actually know, I look into somebody that really knows the language and knows how this negotiation goes and what I should be looking for and what you can expect, to at least consult me about the numbers and what I can expect to ask for in regards to my contract extension. Because, Baltimore is like, you can do what you want to. Worst case scenario, we tagging you and you got to come back or you don't play the whole year. And I don't think Lamar, Jackson's going to do that. But I was looking at some of the teams, and I'm like, of course, the Jets could look at something like that, but I don't think they would spend the money. A team, even though they don't really have the players, if I had some draft picks and made a couple trades, I might look into it, looking at Lamar Jackson, and that's Houston. They have nothing to lose. They have nothing to lose. And I know they're not going to the playoffs tomorrow or nothing like that too, and he may not want to go there. But if I'm Houston, I'm sitting there contemplating like, well, I can go get me a younger player, or I can bring this dude in and do something like that. I can, bring him in and do something. And they probably will end up moving because they changing everything around and moving it. But somebody has to make a move. And again, too, I know the Jets are talking to Rodgers, trying to see what's going on with him. But if I had to make a choice between Rodgers and Marmar, all day, because you put Marmar with Wilson, the running back. You give them they have another wide receiver over there. You get somebody else in the draft, and you get him to show up for 75% of the game during the season. We talk about something. In fact, I would say, you know what? Because I know you want your real money. We may not be able to sign you for 5 years, but we're gonna give you this crazy money for 2 years and see what the hell happens. Can we sign you for 2 years? For crazy money as an experiment, because we want this in New York. Maybe you stay, maybe you don't, but we want you that bad. We negotiate 2 years, whatever the hell you want, whatever we can afford. If we can afford that money, more than the 32, but the only thing is Baltimore can match it or whatever too. But I'm saying, hey, I got 2, give me 2 years, bro. 2, 3 max, but give me 2, and let's see what the hell happens. If the New York Jets want to win, I know they're going after Aaron Rodgers. You got to make a statement. You got to make a statement. Quit talking about it and don't give me these blowhards talking about the New York fans, all this other. The hell with this. Sometimes you got to go to the front office and quit running that New York swagger like you got it all there. That's bull stuff, man. Sometimes you got to make moves. If y'all really want to win, you did the right thing. You went out last year. You took care of the business when it came to the draft. You got quality starters. You got Sauce Gardner on the other side. Garrett Wilson was the offensive player, rookie of the year. You have the pieces. Now, what you gonna do to move forward? You got them. You get rid of your old quarterback. That's what you want to do. Coach is not bad. Don't be like some other teams. Just stay stagnant. Make a move. Don't be the Miami Dolphins. Make a damn move if you want to win.
Yeah.
Let me I jump in real quick, Boom. I want to address the thing about him, an agent's going to do any better. This is where I don't believe that will actually work, because I think reality, here's what Lamar is up against too. Not only that, the Baltimore owner doesn't want to pay that. Other owners don't want to cave in and do it either, because they're looking at that guaranteed money. They don't want to go down that field. To them, when you say guaranteed money, it brings them closer and closer to NBA. And that's one that the NFL owners want to fight. So it's not like it's just Lamar have an agent, doesn't have an agent. I think the other owners have gotten together and said, we don't want to, it's not technically him. They despise that contract Cleveland gave to what's his name. They despise it, bro. So they're not trying to fall into that same category. And that's what he's up against. So I don't think it's necessarily that. And I think, too, I love the fact that he's doing his own. I really do. Because if this was Tom Brady, oh, bro, please. They'd be throwing him a parade. Oh, yeah, he can handle. And I'm sorry. Lamar Jackson, if anything to me does wrong, he played. Because sometimes you got to tell him, you know what? This is what you're going to get me at, and I'm not playing. If you don't do that, and guess what? The needle moves. Remember Emmitt Smith years ago? Come on, bro. This is where you're going to, remember, they're running back now with the Mexico. Guess what? You don't want me, I'll go, but see, he's playing, trying to do the right thing, keep everybody happy. Kumbaya. F that. Guess what?
And that's where I thought an agent would have said, "Listen, man."
No. I understand that, but even with an agent, bro, they don't want to pay him the money. Well, how much? If they're offering him 32, how much more agent going to get him? If they already made it in their mind based on he's going to get hurt, I'll be honest, sending a white agent in and ain't going to get no much better, bro. I'm just being, in my opinion. What he needs to let them know is, guess what? I ain't willing to sit out. He should have sat out last year. That year he should have sat out. Instead of stepping onto the field and trying to do the right thing. When they didn't want to work a deal, and he said, well, you know, I'm not going to talk about it. That's when Lamar Jackson said, you know what, the beginning of this season, until I'm signed, at this point, they couldn't franchise you, bro. Sit your butt down. Let them start 0-4, 0-6. Guess what? You would have had a contract. There's your leverage. So anyway, that's why I think if he had a problem, that's what it is. But I love the fact that this young man is saying to himself, I'm going to take it on. I know who I'm worth. Look at Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco did this to the same team. They wanted to pay Joe Flacco. No, I'm going to bet on myself. Went to the Super Bowl. Guess what? They rung the bell for him. Now, maybe he thought they was going to do the same for him, but it didn't happen that way. You didn't have Ray Lewis and Ed Reed on opposite side of you, bro. You got to put fear in them. And that's his major problem right now. He's not. And I said last year, I wouldn't step on the field until a contract is done. Now you're in a situation where they still kind of have leverage on you because of the franchise, even though it's not exclusive. There's still some where they have you, at least for the next 2 years. You should have, when iron was hot, and a lot of people said, don't play, bro. Mm-hmm. Do not go out there and play last year. That's when you had all the leverage, because let them lose the whole season. Again, when they basically went to the playoff and almost won a game without you, they're thinking in their mind, guess what? We can do this. In reality, I don't think they can, not where the league is going to now, but that's what they're thinking. But I think this idea, especially to me, and you know, maybe it's just my thinking, if he was white, were people still saying the same thing? You know, if that was Peyton Manning out there doing his own thing, would they be saying the same thing? Would you be thinking the same thing? I seriously doubt it, because he walks around corn braids. He's younger. You know, he doesn't say much. We kind of feel he can't handle it. To me, he's doing a fine job, bro. But you just got to let them know, either I'm going to play for this, I ain't playing for nothing else. Give me my money, because you already proved to them before this year you worth the money, bro. But at the same time, stop looking at what homeboy got. Get what you can get.
Yeah. There have been a lot of other transactions in the NFL. You got Derek Carr going to the Saints. I'm not even going to talk about the Giants. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're thinking about. They're becoming the New York Knicks, as far as I'm concerned. There's a way they handle their front office. You got Robbie Anderson got released by the Cardinals. Shaquille Griffin got released by the Jaguars. You had Donovan Smith, the left tackle of Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I'm hearing a lot of different things happening with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, maybe releasing Fournette or trying to trade him, a lot of things around that. So there's a lot of things. Bud Dupree, come on back to Pittsburgh, man. The defense needs you. Come on back. The Titans released him. And so there's a lot of transactions, Ice. What are some of the transactions that really shocked you going on in the NFL?
I wouldn't say it shocked me, but the fact that they are going to release him, and I think he helped somebody else when I think about the people that are in this group, and that's Frank Clark with the Chiefs. I think he can go back with somebody immediately and help him, because the way that he came across for them and for the Chiefs for so long was great. You know, kind of do that Ndamukong Suh type thing where you kind of bounce around with a good team and just flash. Teams like, you know, a team like, if they ever get back on track, like Tennessee or somewhere like that that's trying to get back on track, I think that would be a good solid fit for him, because they can still use him. So yeah, Frank Clark definitely stood out for me in that. And the rest of them, like Robbie Anderson, have you done anything since you left Carolina? I mean, seriously. I mean, hell, what was my man when he was still playing one over there? What's the wide receiver for Carolina back in the day? I can't even think of his name.
I know you're talking about.
Yeah. I told that's how long Robbie Anderson seemed like he's been around to me. Unless, Robbie, they got room at the end in Chicago. I'm about to go over there. I'm going to Chicago and try out, because that's how bad they need wide receivers.
They got too many little wide receivers in Chicago.
But you need you need something. That's another team. Get off the pot. And I told you, if they do the same thing where they make that trade, so they don't trade, and they pick a quarterback and trade Justin Fields, y'all out y'all rabbit ass minds. Seriously. That man took nothing but punishment all these years, dealing with epilepsy and every damn thing, and he's still balling. Still ain't good enough for y'all. What the hell y'all want in Chicago?
I don't know. I've been here for a long time and I haven't been able to figure that out. Black, who surprised you with all these cuts and transitions in the NFL?
It's not who surprised me. Well, it shouldn't surprise you, man. After Kirk Cousins got what he got, then nothing else surprised me. Because I'm looking at New Orleans like, what did you see in Carr to give him that deal? Because to me, he's a slight upgrade from Dalton. I'm looking at him going like, what did you 4 years? What did he do to earn that? Oh, he was an all-star maybe 5-6 years ago. If he's that good, why are the Raiders just letting him walk out the door? Just saying, go ahead, do what you got to do. What have you seen on tape? What did you believe that he's worth that? And then the Giants, you got to be kidding me. I mean, let's get real. Let's get real. I mean, it's so funny. I was watching Speak. That's one show I kind of pay attention from time to time. And the guy was saying it's interesting. He said Danny Dimes, his average, let's say he plays 15 games, 15 touchdowns. So he's giving you one touchdown a freaking game. And you're going to give him $81 or $82 million guaranteed? Now, I'm not saying based on what quarterbacks, man, it's not a lot, but guess what? Tell us 2 years. We're going to give you this for 2 years. You take it or leave it. And I don't care if you're going to get somebody in XFL, because they can play just as good as he's playing. So it seemed like mediocrity. These teams are willing to sign up for it. And then now you're going to have this Jimmy Garoppolo. They're going to toss him around like he's the best thing since Johnny Unitas. Are you kidding me? Realistically, man, what's going on here? They throw these names out, and it's like, I don't understand it. And they're going to be willing to pay him. Jimmy Garoppolo going to get paid, bro. Somebody going to pay Jimmy Garoppolo good money for nothing. Absolutely nothing. So here we go again, bro. It just seems like they take these quarterbacks that can't basically throw a ball through a tire and give them big money. I'm sorry, man. Big money. For what reason? I mean, let's look. I mean, Kirk Cousins is good as Campbell. Good example. Kirk Cousins, there you go. He's made it. Remember years ago, the guy that drafted, he went to St. Louis, and he was getting like 40, 30 million and kept getting hurt. I can't think of his name right now. But it reminds me of him. They haven't learned anything.
I know. He came from, I think, Oklahoma.
Yes. They haven't learned anything. They pay these guys based on what they believe they can get done. You mean to tell me you saw enough of Danny Dimes giving that contract? This coach, I'm going to give it to you. I'm tired here about what you did with homeboy in Buffalo. He's not him. He's not him. He's not. But see, that's where your ego gets in the way. I could do this. You're going to find out. Because guess what? It was easy for the Giants last year. Bring him back this year when everybody got some tape on and watch what happens. You'll see. You'll see. I didn't watch you for the past several years. I will watch you for the next 4 years. So good luck with that.
Yeah. Commanders, go down the road, go talk to Lamar, and you will ring terror in that division if you get Lamar. With Bieniemy offensive coordinator, please. Questions from the squad. Ice?
Out there. Give me a sleeper from the NCAA tournament, men's.
Black?
Oh, my goodness, man. I'll say this. I'm not impressed with Houston or Alabama. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm not going to wait to what's the name week to kind of put in my bracket. I'm just not impressed with them. So with that being said, man, I'm not saying they have a way, but I think a team like Gonzaga can do much better deeper than what we probably thought in the beginning. I really do, because those teams don't seem to scare me. So if I'm going to pick a sleeper, and they would not maybe qualify as a sleeper, but they were up there. They was ranked 1 for a good period of time, and I think they might get their act together. I'm gonna throw Purdue out, man. I'm gonna throw them out there. I'm just gonna put them out there and just see what happens, because the rest of the top 4 or 5, I'm not feeling. Or Marquette, for that matter, and they may not be considered sleepers, but I think those 2 teams could do some damage.
Yeah, he took one of mine. I'm looking at Arizona and I'm looking at Marquette. Nobody's really talking about Marquette, but they play some good. Shaka has them playing really well in that league. If San Francisco gets in, I'm pulling them as a sleeper team that could knock out some big time teams and surprise a lot of people, and then everybody will be tearing up their brackets. Ice?
Yeah, I thought about it. I wasn't gonna say it, but I'm gonna say it because I ain't scared. I ain't scared. Oral Roberts. Oral
Oh
Roberts.
yeah,
Oral
yeah.
Roberts has the point guard that's a senior, and he literally single-handedly took down Ohio State early and went on. They almost made they made the Sweet 16, almost made the 8. Their guard is back. They got another big fella rolling around. They're gonna cause some damn problems, some serious problems. So watch out for them. And the other team that I'm gonna look at too is Rutgers. If Rutgers
I knew you
makes
were gonna say that. I was gonna say it for you.
if Rutgers makes it in the tournament, they will cause some problems because they do not care. They have nothing. They don't got nothing to lose, and they don't give a damn. So you want to come in with all your little, oh, we got all these accolades and we got all our fans. They go, look, we ain't never had superstars, and we will walk down the street. I will punch you in the mouth, take the deed of your house, live in your house with your family, and move you out. That's how they roll. That's what they own. If they make it.
Yeah. I got a couple of other teams I think are sleeping. Northwestern, I think they beat Purdue twice this year. So I'm not sure if they beat them twice. San Diego State, nobody talks about them, and Texas A&M. Black, what's your question?
I know it's International Women's Day, man, but I want to ask this question because we're gentlemen and just want to kind of put it out there. And I mean this with no disrespect. But when you watch women, like I was watching earlier NBA Countdown and that stuff, I kind of was there for a little and I kind of bounced away. When you watch women on these sports shows, it does seem like they just try too hard to be pretty and sexy.
In a lot of instances, I say yes. But the one thing that is very, I guess, attractive, but also appealing from a female sports caster or analyst particularly, is when they show by the discussion that they know the game, by the terms and understanding. Like Candace Parker, I'm still mad at you. Candace Parker. Candace Parker knows basketball. Candace Parker knows the ins and outs. Okay, they need to go back door. You need to see that pick going back door. You need to cut that off. She is a system situation type individual who talks basketball. It doesn't matter if it's little kids, it's grown women, it's grown men. She talks about the principles of basketball, and it makes a lot of damn sense. And maybe because she's played on all levels, but she also has the ability to share and kind of give you insight onto why things should happen in a certain way. I'm not sure if she will coach, but she's doing a hell of a job as an analyst. So I'm intrigued when a lady shows that she knows the game. I think so many times, as you mentioned, they want to put women out like they look good in the pencil. They got this little generic information, and it's just like anybody can say that, right? You just happen to look good. But I'm looking for those ladies that really know, and particularly if you know the women's game better than that. I'd rather have the women, because they know the game, broadcast the game than the men. Truthfully, because you knew you played that. Particularly the dominant players or the analysts like that, you really understand the game. So yeah, I mean, I see that, but that's why I have a great appreciation when a woman shows that she really understands the ins and outs of what she's talking about.
Yeah, I think the sports shows know their demographics, and they know that mostly men watch those shows, and so men love their sports, but they also love to look at beautiful women. But I agree, along with Ice. Some of them are just kind of figureheads, and they're just sitting there in between two guys who may be debating. But some of them really know their sports, and I have to give a shout out to Joy, who's on Fox. You may agree with her or disagree with her, but she really knows her sports. When they go to her and ask her a question, she knows her sports. And there are others that are out there, but yeah, I see what you're seeing. But I think that these sports shows know that mostly men watch these shows, and men love sports and beautiful women. And so they're going to, even though sometimes you wonder why they kind of repeat the same shows over and over again. Because sometimes you're so busy. I got a buddy. Sometimes he's so busy looking at the woman, he ain't listening to what they're saying. So he got to watch the show again to get the message. I'm talking about you, Ortiz. You got to watch the show to get the message again. It's like watching the Latino channels, and they got the weather women up there with the short skirts. You don't care about no weather. They speaking in Spanish. You may not be speaking in Spanish, but you sit there and you tune in. You wait till the weather girl get there. Those are demographics. They know who's watching.
Hey, like you say, my man, real quick, my man can't even speak Spanish. He watching the channel.
I have been guilty of such. Maybe not the weather. I've been guilty of stopping at a channel where I didn't understand the English. I must admit to that. I will say this though, man. Let's just say the majority that they hired are very knowledgeable and they're very good. I don't take that away from them. But to me, when you're clocking around with heels and you're doing all this to be overtly to get attention, that's why I just kind of draw the line, man. I mean, let your natural beauty to show, but you don't have to be a model. You don't have to be, bro. And here again, I mean, maybe some men tune in for that, but I'm not saying it's not nice to see because we are visual, but the overness that they do to me, it's just beyond sometimes, bro. It's just like, you got to pull that back a little bit, dial it down some. Seriously.
You'd rather watch Pamela Oliver on Fox?
Yeah, I have. I mean, that's a good point, but I'll be honest, and I like Pam, but like I said, that's not, she's one of those, and sorry, Pam. Pam is one of those that don't really give you much, bro. She's been there for a while, but it's not, It's sad to say. I'm happy that she's where she is, but when she's on the microphone, man, is she giving you a lot? Not really.
Yeah, so sometimes I feel like they say, "Hey, go wake Pamela up from her nap because she got a report on." We ain't gonna all mess it up.
Wow.
Question: the WWE is looking to get into the betting game. Y'all fixing the sport. Y'all gotta look at the odds and think who's gonna win. Well, I explain your thoughts. The WWE says we want in on this betting stuff.
Why not? It's the ultimate fantasy because it's fake. I mean, seriously, it's perfect. I mean, it's perfect what they're doing. You don't have to be imaginative. You just come in here and just maybe this is gonna be this way. I mean, it's perfect for it. And the way that we've been doing with the entertainment boxing, why the hell not? With entertainment boxing, it's the same thing. At least in this scenario, you know that it's not fake. That means you just don't have enough, you just have money to blow, money to spend. So that's what you want to do to entertain yourself, rock on. Hey, they making all the money, might as well. Like, what you think they're gonna do this time? They're gonna make such and such win, they're gonna let this person win. And I told you it gets bad with the point where when you go to a live show now, they don't even try to hide it. If they have a regular televised event, they will go back and they will rehearse the same bouts over about 3 times until they get it right. And you're sitting there in the arena and you pay for this. I saw it. I didn't pay for it, thank God. But back in the day, it wasn't none of that. They already knew what they was going to do. It was scripted. They went through it. They brought it to razor blades. They cut each other. They're bleeding all over each other. Everything like that too. But now they're basically insulting you as a fan. Well, showing you the same thing 3 times in a row so we can choreograph this the right way so we can show it on TV. Are you crazy? That's not the wrestling my granddaddy took me to see Bobo Brazil back in the day. That wasn't that bullshit. And that only cost $4 to get into. They have totally disgraced the damn sport or whatever the whole point behind it. That's what made people love it. You have just disgraced it now. You just have.
Black, could you imagine, we used to stay up at 11 o'clock at night on Saturday watching wrestling and it would come to this?
No, man. I mean, like I said, that's a big insult to your intelligence, man. It really is. I mean, and wrestling does it and don't care. But when you pose this question, I'm starting to think. I remember taking my son, let's say about 10 years ago, and took him to a couple of wrestling. So you're there, and the place was pretty well seated, and you realize 80% of the people there is like date night. They don't have kids. These are guys and girls sitting there in their 30s, their 40s, with no kids. Then during the intermission, you say, okay, let's go get a t-shirt. Bro, you gotta fight. You gotta fight. They're in there buying this stuff like, when they're drinking beer, I mean, they really believe it's real. So I'm serious. So my point in saying that is that, yes, they will bet. They will bet. Their average fan will bet on this because a good part of them don't want to believe it's not real, bro.
Wow.
They don't want to believe it. They don't. And it's the W. They have basically done that to their fans psychologically to where they don't care. They look at, I don't know if it's entertainment or just believe it, but it blew my mind. I mean, it blew my mind when you looked around, was nothing but couples. And you're saying to yourself, was it a concert? No. And they weren't young. In there with their wives, their girlfriend, they're bringing up there and they're yelling and fighting like they're watching a boxing match. And we know what boxing has went to. But anyway, no, bro, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me, but I just think it's a blatant blow to your intelligence. And I don't know, man. I think as society, DraftKings and all these are coming in and people aren't paying attention. We got inflation, all this stuff going on. A lot of people can't afford to bet, bro. They can't. And it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt financially. And no one's talking about that. And don't give me this, well, if you got a betting problem, nobody's gonna dial 1-800, 1-800. No, it's not gonna happen, man. You gotta be kidding me. That's like those smoking commercials. I swear, you see those smoking commercials come on, I cringe and turn my channel. This will look like you smoke. Why are you scared the hell out of me? The smoking. You scared the hell out of me.
Oh, take a shot, Ice.
Yeah, I'm sticking with the betting situation because in Ohio, January is like the first month that we had officially allowed to bet on sports. So we had sports gambling. Everybody was all over the place. The state of Ohio took in $1.1 billion in the month of January.
Wow.
1.1 billion in that, how much many people were betting. And what's ironic about it is the majority of people, they got the kiosks, you can go out to the sports bars and whatnot, and you can bet, but maybe 65-70% were bet online. So people were at home or on their phones betting online. And the other point, real quick, is they brought in they took in $1.1 billion in revenue as far as the bets. And then the state made $250 million in January. Profit, $250 million. And this is just the first month. And y'all don't know, March Madness around the corner. And it's just gonna get better from there. March Madness, NBA playoffs, all of that. So get ready. Get ready.
Wow.
I mean, that's astonishing but sad at the same time.
The house never loses. Black.
It's interesting, man. We've always heard Roger Goodell. We haven't heard him in a while talking about, protect the shield, don't sully the shield. These players, they get caught up in these situations, are accused of certain things. They sit down. Well, it's come to attention again that a while ago, Jerry Jones was accused of basically groping and kissing a woman in an open mouth at the Dallas Stadium at a game in a luxury box. One judge decided it wasn't enough evidence there. Well, guess what? The appellate judge brought it back, and he's being charged. He has to basically go forth to trial. You may want to look for the story because you're not going to find it. Look for it. But more than that, why is it Jerry Jones being suspended? Why is nothing going on with Jerry Jones? Oh, he's not Michael Irvin, you say. That's interesting.
I'm going to piggyback on that a little bit with Michael Irvin, and then I have another one. I'll give the good news last. But Michael Irvin, I just saw him on an interview, how he was saying, how disappointed he is because of the situation that he's in. And he made me think about this. I didn't think about it, but when you're in that situation, kind of think about it. That he's like, there was a time in this country where if a white woman accused you of something, you would have a gang of white guys who thought they were above the law, and you would be hung by that. And he was like, he was so disappointed in how this kind of went down, to kind of really kind of discredit his name and his image and things of that sort. But for him to have that insight, I thought that was quite interesting. But the other thing I want to leave everybody with is that, say what you want about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He sold his 4 championship rings, his 3 MVP trophies, and a lot of other memorabilia that was worth $2.8 million. And he's donating the money for youth education. And so I'm going to shout that out, when folks do stuff like that. because we talk about what these guys don't do most of the time. But I want to keep shouting out folks that do things for the future of youth in this country. That's our show. Stay tuned. We got more.